platonic friend the form he habitually employs in his proposals. The hero of battle engagements has proverbial charm for women, and the hero of matrimonial engagements is meat and drink to the spinster athirst for knowledge. Feed the man, and when the brotherly love for the entire universe begins to radiate, approach him gently upon the subject. "Why, bless your little heart," the man will say, "of course I'll tell you about it. Yes, you're right in supposing that I know more about it than anyone else you know. I've never been refused in my life, and I know I've asked 100. I've had medals for that." "I always try to make each one different," he will continue. "Girls sometimes compare notes, and it makes it awkward. The girl I'm engaged to now doesn't know any of my other girls, though, so I'm safe enough." I'll never forget the way I did that. I think it was one of the best proposals I ever made. She's a mighty pretty little thing. Blue eyes and black hair, a regular Irish type. I must tell you first, though, how I came to know her. The one I was engaged to just before I asked her had just broken it off on account of property which her children would lose if she married again. She was a widow, you know. I've told you about her, the one with red hair. Between you and me, that's the only woman in God's world my heart ever went out to. That is the love of my life. Her little girl, 11 years old, was in love with me too. She used to tremble when I kissed her and was jealous of her mother. But this little girl I'm engaged to now, why, I just love the ground she walks on. Well, after a pause, this was a very peculiar affair. Of course I was all broken up over losing her, couldn't eat nor sleep. I was a perfect wreck. This old friend of mine happened along, and he says, "You'll have to brace up, old man. Come on out to my house in the country and rest up a bit." So I went and met his daughter. 5 days after I met her, I asked him for her hand. I explained it to him just as I would to my own father, and he understood all right. He's a fine fellow. He said I could have her. Of course, I'd asked her first. Yes, I'm getting to that. I took her out for a walk one afternoon, and when we came to the river we sat down to talk. It was a perfect day. I began by saying how sad it was to see a beautiful flower, and to know that it was out of one's reach, or to see anything beautiful and know that one could never possess it. I led up to the subject by gentle degrees, and then I said, "You must have seen that I love you, and you know without my telling you that I want you to be my wife. I don't say I want you to marry me, because I want you to do more than that. I want you to be my wife." Fine distinction, that. Well, she was very much surprised, of course, but she accepted me all right. Yes, I told her about the other woman, but in such a way that she understood it perfectly. Lots of other fellows wanted her, and I snatched the prize from right under their very noses. I don't suppose I'll ever propose any more now. I'd never propose to you, even if I were free to do so, because I know you'd refuse me. You'd refuse me, wouldn't you? Somebody else might just as well have me if you don't want me. Yet, in spite of the varied resources at woman's command, we sometimes hear of one who yearns for the privilege of seeking man in marriage. The woman who longs for the right to propose is evidently not bright enough to bring a man to the point. Still worse than this, there are cases on record where women, not reigning queens, have actually proposed to men. The men who are thus sought in the bonds of matrimony are not slow to tell of it, confining themselves usually to their own particular circle of men friends. But the news sometimes filters through man's capacity to keep a secret, and the knowledge is diffused among interested spinsters. What men term hints are not out of place, for the proposal market would be less active were it not for hints. But these are seldom given in words, unless a man happens to be particularly stupid. When the proposal habit is not firmly fastened upon a man, and he begins to have serious designs upon some one girl, she knows it long before he does. Incidentally, the family and the neighbors have their suspicions. Woman, with her strong dramatic instinct, wishes the proposal to occur according to accepted rules. Hence, if a man shows symptoms of whispering the momentous question in a crowd, he is apt to be delicately discouraged, and if the girl is not satisfied with her own appearance, there will also be postponement. No girl wants to be proposed to when her hair is disheveled, her collar wilted, and her soul distraught by pestiferous mosquitoes. But an ambitious and painstaking girl will arrange the stage for a proposal with untiring patience, months before it actually happens. When she practices assiduously all the morning that she may execute difficult passages with apparent ease in the evening, and willingly turns the freezer that there may be cooling ice opportunely left after dinner, to melt if somebody doesn't eat it, she expects something to happen. When the man finally appears, and the little brother marches off like a well-trained soldier with 2 nickels jingling in his pocket, even the victim might be on his guard. When the family are unceremoniously put out of the house, and father, mother, and sisters are seen in the summer twilight wandering in disconsolate pairs, let the neighbors keep away from the house under penalty of the girl's lasting hate. Sometimes, when the family have been put out, and the common human interest leads intimate spinster friends to pass the house, there is nothing to be seen but the girl playing accompaniments for the man while he sings. Yet the initiated know, for if a girl only praises a man singing enough, he will most surely propose to her before many moons have passed. The scheme has a twofold purpose, because all may see that he finds the house attractive, and if no engagement is announced, the entire affair may easily be explained upon musical and platonic grounds. Owing to the distorted methods of courtship which prevail at the present day, a girl may never be sure that a man really cares for her until he makes a formal proposal. If a man were accepted the minute he proposed, he would think the girl had been his for some time, and would unconsciously class her as among those easily won. The insinuation that she has been easily won is the thing which is not to be borne. It may have been simple enough, in fact, but let a man beware how he trifles with this delicate subject, even after 50 years of marriage. Consequently, it is the proper thing to take the matter under advisement, and never to accept definitely without a period of probation. This is the happiest time of a girl's life. She is absolutely sure of her lover, and may administer hope, fear, doubt, and discouragement to her heart's content. The delicate attentions which are showered upon her are the envy of every spinster on the street who does not know the true state of the affair. Sometimes with indifferent generosity she divides her roses, and invites the less fortunate to share her chocolates. This always pleases the man if he knows about it. Also, because she is not in the least bound, she makes the best of this last freedom, and accepts the same courtesies from other men. Nothing is so well calculated to sound the depths of original sin in man's nature as to find his rival's roses side by side with his, when a girl has him on probation, and he never feels so entirely similar to an utter idiot as when he sees a girl to whom he has definitely committed himself flirting cheerfully with 2 or 3 other men. Woe be to him if he remonstrates, for mademoiselle is testing him with this end in view. If he complains bitterly of her outrageous behavior, she dismisses him with sorrowful dignity, jealousy being the one thing she cannot tolerate in men. There is an opportunity for fine work in the situation which the young woman immediately develops. A man may take his choice of the evils which lie before him, for almost anything may happen. He may complain, and if he shows anger, there is war. If he betrays jealousy, there is trouble which marriage will accentuate rather than lessen. If he shows concern because his beloved is so fickle, and insinuates that so unstable a person will not make a good wife, he touches pride in a vital spot, and his cause is no more. Let him be manfully unconcerned, as far above jealousy and angry reproach as a Saint Bernard is above a kitten, and mademoiselle is his. Philosophers laugh at woman's fickleness, but her constancy, when once awakened, endures beyond life and death, and sometimes beyond betrayal.